Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to Tsaaro's specific discussion on AI ethics and data privacy. And why are we talking about it? So suddenly, why is AI so important and why are we as consultants are focused on AI? Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to So why are we doing that? We are doing that to bring you some internet important conversations from the internet, important conversations on the future. And how do we have the right structure of governance so that while you build an AI system for yourself or while in your organization you see somebody building an AI, they do it right. Because doing it right is what it is all about. It's not about, and again, we have done so much in GDPR and privacy and see where we are, right? And let's be honest, it's a long journey that we have taken. But why can't we just do a few things? Why can't we bring a few changes in who we are today and while we are building that AI? So once the EU AI Act goes live or other guidelines internationally, it's not that India is behind. We also have our AI guidelines. We have European guidelines. So nobody's behind anyone. I think a lot of time it's all about application and the intent of the supervisory authorities to go after a non-compliance. Definitely in India, we don't have that intent yet. But in Europe, there is an intent, and everybody in Europe is speeding through this. And that is exactly why we are here. We are here talking about it. We are working with our clients to solve, find risks in their AI practices while they are building these tools and helping them out in making sure that they do it right. And the overall risk that is there for the person on whose data or who's going to utilize the AI platform comes to a minimum. And that's exactly why we are here. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about today as we go down the line, as we get into our session, as we all are warming up to the session. So, welcome everyone to Tsaaro's lead webinar, elite webinar on AI ethics and data privacy. And today it's all about AI and it's all the discussions that we'll do and conversations that we're going to have. And by the way, before we start, I just want to let you know this session is for you. So if you have a question, if you want to know about something, if you have a doubt, you're already assessing or you're already building the AI platforms, please feel free to drop those questions in the comments. We are reading the comments right with you as you are writing them. And henceforth, it will be a great conversation. And I have with me Krishna Srivastava. Krishna?
Right. Thank you, Akarsh. Thank you for that quick introduction about what we're going to do in today's webinar. So, hi, everyone. A very good evening or good morning from wherever you're based out of. My name is Krishna, and I'm going to help you navigate through the world of AI ethics, similar to what we have been doing in the last few years around privacy by design. Now, the focus is also on ethics by design, and a lot of documents are available on the internet on how to exactly do it, what to be considered while you are going through that activity. But in today's webinar, we are going to be focusing a lot more about how data privacy interacts with AI, and how in the whole world of trust and ethics, data privacy is also an alarmingly increasing piece, and how it correlates to the AI ethics game as well. So thank you for that, Akarsh. And I think I'll just go over to the next slide as well, probably talk a bit about Tsaaro Consulting for anyone who is joining us for the first time.
Krishna, I will take that out. Come on. I think you
Yeah,
can't
perfect.
you can't yeah, this is for me. So a bit about us, right? And I think this is a question I have been answering, going across the world and joining you today from Dubai. And by the way, where are you joining us from? So, and can you drop that in the comment, and then we will get going. So, I'm joining you from Dubai today. This is my comment. Uh, okay. What about others, folks? Where are you joining us from? Uh, yeah, in India, somewhere in Bombay. Are you in Delhi? Are you? By the way, tomorrow I will be in Delhi, and we have an event coming up. We are going to talk about the DPDPA specific discussions on technology. and through BPO Club. So this I'm super excited for that tomorrow. Just going there tomorrow. If you're in Delhi, if you're in the coming to the event, if you got the pass, I'll see you tomorrow, folks. But if you didn't, if you're in Bombay, then maybe I'll see you on 16th of May. Okay. Hey Vineet, it's good to have you, man. Hey Pavan, hey Manoj. Yeah, it's looking forward to contributing to the discussion, folks. Yeah. Okay, so a bit about, and anybody else who's on the call listening to us, please feel free to just drop in where you're from. I know it's at personal data, and privacy professionals, we're always, like a bit wary in doing that. But come on, everybody knows where you are, right? Come on, and not me, but generally. About Tsaaro Consulting, we are industry leaders in trust services. What we do is we are into data privacy and cybersecurity. Overall, we improve organizations' posture. We help them do audits. We help them build their privacy programs, operate their privacy programs, implement privacy and cyber tools, implement GRC, ESG, ISO 27001, 2770. So we kind of help organizations in making sure that their overall governance and risk practices are up to the mark, and audit them and give some reports, and as well as help them automate their work by using certain tools like Security.ai, OneTrust, Big ID, Scrut, and Vanta, right? So that is what we do. We ourselves are ISO 27001 and 27701 certified, and looking forward. Krishna, if we can move on. This session is not a legal advice. We are not going to give you any legal advice. This session is only for educational and reference purposes. Krishna. Yeah. Krishna, over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Akarsh. So the story that we're trying to build here today is going to focus on data protection and AI best practices, because as data privacy individuals, there are certain rights that you have as data subjects, which may be challenged in case an organization is using an AI system. And we also intend to address what different AI systems can use to also support those data subject rights. We'll also look at a global perspective on AI ethics and data privacy, and a journey of how it has been transitioned over the last few years, as well as the very recent quarters, because a lot of developments have happened over the last few quarters as well. We will look at some of the challenges in the intersection of AI and data privacy, and probably also recommend on the way forward as to what you can do as a compliance professional or a data privacy professional to make sure that your AI system or the deployment of an AI system is ethical. Now, in terms of the timeline that we have, we traditionally start with identifying ethics in the AI system. There is a brilliant document by UNESCO which talks about how to conduct an ethical impact assessment. So, before deployment, development, or the typical software development lifecycle process that you follow, how do you ensure that ethics are also a key component of the entire lifecycle? And that's typically what you start as well whenever you are thinking of deploying an AI system. So traditionally, the method was to build a system, develop a system, and then look at compliance as an afterthought. But as we are moving towards trust, ethics, and securing data across the globe, it has become really, really important to also shift ethics to the left as well, not just security or privacy. So that's typically what we look at in terms of the first stage of this activity. Going on to understanding the revolution in AI, what has been recent changes, and if you have also heard about organizations such as Figure, which is creating a humanoid robot to replace humans in terms of the more mundane tasks that you do on a daily basis. So there's a lot of revolution that is occurring around AI. It's not just the software, it's not just a hardware, it's a mixture of both. It's basically creating a machine that has human intelligence or at par to human intelligence as well. All of it started with, of course, the Turing test, the test on verification of a machine and classifying it as either human like intelligence or machine like intelligence. And from there, over the last few years, now we are looking at potential humanoid robots that can replace the daily activities that you do as an individual. Now, at the same time, we also want to help you understand that overall ethics, compliance, as well as security or privacy falls under your enterprise risk management program or processes. In the end, any kind of regulatory impact that you would have due to these domains are to be considered in your risk management strategy as well. So, very similar to how you roll out an IT application or a new IT process within your organization, and it goes through a security due diligence and a privacy due diligence. Similarly, for an AI system, you need to do an AI due diligence. You need to identify the potential risks, the positive impacts, as well as the negative impacts of deploying that AI system within your infrastructure or providing it as a service to end users in the region. Now, of course, GDPR helps us a lot. It regulates how to process personal data. Similarly, in the EU, we have EU AI Act, which also classifies AI systems based on its functionality as well as the purpose of usage of that AI system. So it has classifications which would typically fall under categories such as high risk AI system, medium risk AI system, moderate, or minor, depending upon the different risks that the AI system can potentially cause data subjects, individuals, but not just individuals, right? That's the caveat here, because when you look at GDPR, it focuses on personal data of individuals or living natural persons. But when you look at an AI system, the impact could be multifold, or the impact could be across species. The impact could be on your environment, it could have societal impact, it could have climate impact, and those are the kind of impacts that you would want to consider.
And Krishna, what about aliens? Like, will it impact them? I'm just asking, since we are scope is increasing for work. So
Now, I'm glad that you mentioned that, Akash. I think because you and I were potentially looking at a series, a three body problem, right? And I think that's also potentially where the question could be stemming from. And yes, I mean, I think in terms of the current context of the act, whatever we know is typically something that an AI system could affect. And that is also something we are looking at from a governance and a deployment perspective, so that we can minimize the impact of all these things as well. Then, of course,
are we
having
trying
said
to
that,
save the world? Are we trying to save the world from alien AIs by governing it right? I'm just asking. Just, these things are coming to my mind. I don't know.
no, I think traditionally, whatever we don't quite understand is what we call an alien. It doesn't matter if it's living in a different galaxy or a universe, but whatever is new or different for us is traditionally branded as an alien. So it is quite possible that in the future, an AI system creates another AI system, and potentially they talk to each other in a language that we don't quite understand. The example that I've also given is also around a case from US where Meta was working on something like this, and they accidentally created an AI system which could create another AI system and speak to it in a language that Meta didn't understand. So they had to shut down that project at that point in time, because of course the risk factor is something that they had considered, and the risk was too far great for humanity as well as different areas. I think there's a question as well, Akarsh, from the chat section that I would just pick up. So the question is from Chris, and the question is around AI ethics and governance. So there is sort of a global AI arms race between the big players and countries, and whoever comes on top will have an edge in world domination. So why would these countries self-imposed strict governance legislation that would impede their progress while giving the others a head start? Just like the case with nuclear weapons or global warming, will this end up as restrictions imposed on developing countries, latecomers to the AI party? Okay, I think Chris, that's a very good question, because when we look at technological advancements, I think just like nuclear weapons were seen as a technological advancement scenario, it is very similar for AI systems as well. But similar to how humans learn from what they've done in the past, right? There have been learnings around implementation of nuclear weapons program or nuclear management programs. I think those learnings are also important on how to ensure that we can develop a system that we do not quite fully understand in a way that is ethical, but also safeguards the national interests of organizations. So you might have also read the news recently where the Pope is attending the G7 summit to talk about AI. So the implications and the impact of AI is multifold. Everyone understands the risks caused by it, which is why at this point in time, everyone is trying to understand and gather the risks around it before deploying a technology that we don't quite fully understand at this point in time. Right now, I would just typically also try and correlate between the data protection principles and the best practices for AI model training and deployment. Now, looking at the data processing principles, most of you would be aware of the principles that are stemming out of GDPR. And of course, even under the Indian DPDPA, when we are defining automated or artificial juristic person, we are giving a reference of including AI systems in its scope. So if an AI system is processing personal data, then of course it falls under the scope of both the GDPR and the DPDPA. And at the same time, some of the best practices that we have for AI model training and deployment also focuses on reducing bias, discrimination, and also ensuring fairness while we do it, right? Because AI systems, if I want to put an analogy around it, AI systems are very similar to a child, and the child learns what it sees around in their environment. So, if the AI system is being fed incorrect data or data that has been poisoned or manipulated, then it is very much possible that the outcomes that your AI system would provide would also be biased and at the same time unethical in most cases. So, it is very important to ensure that you have proper training data whenever you are planning to train your AI model on a certain use case. And at the same time, the traditional information security measures also need to fall into place as well. Access control, logging, monitoring, security operations center, as well as discretionary access control, all of these technologies and processes must be implemented while developing an AI system, because again, in the end it is software, in the end it is the IT landscape, in the end it's the current technology that we are using, and we also have to ensure that security protocols as well as processes are inbuilt inherently while using AI systems as well. Now, when we look at a global perspective on AI ethics and data privacy, you would have seen that EU is typically a front runner when it comes to putting out regulations to protect data subjects' rights and interests, compared to US, where the approach is slightly different, where the focus is more on growth and innovation, and the regulation piece is stitched later. But looking at the EU, the regulation goes hand in hand on how to look at the implementation of new technologies or emerging technologies as well. Now, some key challenges, of course, would be standardization. Some of you may be aware that ISO 42001 is a new standard rolled out by ISO on how to build a AI management system. A very famous service company in India has already certified with ISO 42001. You can imagine how fast they have implemented a certification which is fairly new into the market, but at the same time they were able to verify through an external provider as to the management system that they built meets the requirements of ISO 42001. So in terms of standardization, it could be a challenge, and it also differs on how different governments look at the development of AI systems. So that of course remains a challenge across the world. And then again, that also is seen as a deterrent for AI systems to grow and innovate as well. But at the same time, the EU AI Act makes sure that innovation and regulation goes hand in hand, which is also offering a comprehensive data privacy act as well as a comprehensive AI ethical act. So ethical impact assessment is something I spoke about, and the two things that you have to look into while you're conducting an ethical impact assessment is the positive impacts of AI and the negative impacts of AI. Right? There could be both, and you'll have to understand how the AI system is used. You have to understand whether it's simply a technological addition, or is it something that acts as a supercomputer and is also taking decisions on your organization's behalf. There is also an organization in Italy that has appointed an AI CEO. So you might want to look at that piece as well, on how exactly is decision making affected by introducing AI in traditional job roles or responsibilities where human oversight has always been a critical component. Right. At this point in time, I'll also ask a question to all of you. How many of you here think that you use an AI system or some sort of AI system on a daily basis? A simple yes or no in the comments is something that we are good with. Right. So how many of you here think that you use an AI system or some part of an AI system on a daily basis? Okay, I see Akarsh raising his hand. What about the rest of you? Akash, how do you use a AI system? Are you referring to ChatGPT, the generative AI model, or are you using something else as well?
I'm using Chat GPT's Pro version. I'm trying to use it for, like automating some PPTs or trying to understand PPTs, because I'm a bit lazy, can't read everything. So what I do is I do that. I kind of use it for understanding my documents. So So that's what I do.
Mhm. Great. I think because Akash also mentioned that he uses ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is traditionally categorized as a low risk AI system because the AI system is specifically created for a generic purpose. But I also see that Katie has put in a comment that she's using it for face recognition as well as voice recognition. Now, under the EU AI Act, if you look at the phrasing of the act, then any kind of biometric identification or biometric categorization leads to that AI system being categorized as a high risk AI system. So, if it's a high risk AI system, what you must do if you're providing or deploying that AI system in the EU is conduct a conformity assessment. So, you have to make sure that the high risk AI system that you're developing meets the requirements of the EU AI Act. Okay. I think all of us are using AI system in some context or the other. We may not be using it fully in terms of having a sentient AI creature like Jarvis and Iron Man. But at some point in time, if you're using facial recognition, voice recognition, or any of these similar softwares, you might be using a high risk AI system as per the categorization in the EU region. There are also some case studies that illustrate ethical dilemmas and privacy concerns in AI, and these are some of the famous one. The Cambridge Analytica scandal is one of the most famous or infamous highlight of using an AI system or using targeted advertising to manipulate elections. Similarly, there's the AI recruitment tool from Amazon, which also had certain biases and which also led to discrimination against certain ethical groups as well as religious groups. And then, of course, there was the Uber data breach, which was typically a data security concern more than anything else. And Project Nightingale is a very important and a key takeaway that you might want to research more about. This would help you understand as to what exactly can go wrong if you're developing an AI system without considering the governance piece, the ethics piece, as well as data privacy during that deployment. Right now, some of the challenges that you would typically see in terms of implementing data privacy requirements around AI systems would be the right to object to automated decision making. Because most AI models that are developed today, it might not be possible for the AI system to remove the learning that it has gathered from consuming your personal data. Right. So, how do you exactly solve the right to object to automated decision making or the right to object to automated processing? That becomes a challenge, and then it also leads to another challenge where you want to delete data from an organization that is using your personal data. So if an AI system or a machine learning model has learned and trained on your personal data, how do you exercise your right to deletion or your right for erasure in different data privacy laws across the globe? So the answer to that is that the model that is being used needs to have these features available inherently, right? The ones that were available over the last few years did not have these features available, which also made it very difficult for AI engineers to change how they have structured the AI system. But the new models that are coming up also realizes and understands the importance of compliance with data privacy laws, wherein you are able to reverse or delete the learning of the AI system through certain data elements or data attributes. So that's the primary challenges when we look at data privacy. Some of the rights that you have as a data subject, they may not be, there may not be, it may not be possible for organization to provide a response and to make sure that the rights are honored, which also leads to non-compliances and regulatory fines on the organization. And at the same time, a bias, discrimination, and fairness are really, really important verticals that you would want to look at. So if you are building an AI system, you must make sure that the AI system development team is diverse and the training data that is being used is also diverse as well. So that's typically how it is being structured in terms of eliminating the biasness when it comes to developing an AI system. Similarly, if for I'll take a quick example on what happened in the Europe region as well. There was a AI system that was developed to identify criminals based on facial recognition. Now, the AI system was trained on people of a different ethnicity, which means that when it was used to identify people of a different ethnicity, it gave incorrect results, which means that it also led to discrimination. It also led to fraudulent cases across individuals and for individuals. And that's the potential discrimination that an AI system can make if as an individual, you're not using the right training data for that AI model. Now, I think I would just also want to conclude this because we had kept this as a short session where I wanted to share certain keywords that you would typically look at and what are the different areas that you would want to look at while we are discussing AI or an AI system. So, ethics remains one of the most important keyword. You might have heard about privacy by design, security by design, but the time has also come to look at ethics by design. Ethical impact assessment is something that you would want to do before deploying an AI system. Conformity assessment is something that you would traditionally want to do in the EU region if you are developing or deploying a high risk AI system. And at the same time, the governance piece also needs to include ethical use of AI, and maybe you might have to add new controls from a compliance piece as well as from a ethics and a trust piece. So, as a takeaway, I would want all of you to typically look at all these keywords that we have discussed. And Akarsh, if you want to share some parting words before we also complete this webinar and part ways with our attendees here.
Thank you everyone for joining in, and I hope that we have been able to give you some information and some direction while you build the AI yourself and while you are going towards AI trust. Please reach out to us in case you feel we can help you out while you're building your AI and while you need the trust to be at the highest level. And thank you, Krishna, for enlightening us. Thank you, Krishna, for uh, enlightening us. Yeah, and that is really helpful. And have a nice day, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you, everyone. And you can reach out to any of us if you have any questions. We are very supportive in terms of answering questions. So, and also very curious as to what new questions that would come to us. So, feel free to reach out to us. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you, everyone.